All right, everyone. I think we'll go ahead and we'll get started here today. So first off, just want to go ahead and welcome everyone to our Getting Started Pull Everywhere 2.0. All right, just a quick little introduction. So my name is Alex Gonzalez. I'm a part of the Pull Everywhere Tier 2 support team. All right, and next, so Pull Everywhere 2.0, why are we here? So for here today, we're going to be all discussing all things and everything 2.0. Now with 2.0, you're going to enjoy a refresh, more intuitive experience design. It's going to help you navigate and manage your polls with ease. Now, it's also going to help save time and it's going to boost engagement by using AI-powered tools to quickly create, edit, and enhance your polls. And then last, with 2.0, it's going to enhance everything that you love about Pull Everywhere. So it's going to help deliver a more smoother and more efficient engagement with each and every audience. Now, just some quick facts, which I got to throw them out there with Pull Everywhere. So we have been self-funded since 2008. Since 2022, we have been a fully remotely distributed company. Now, not only do we have over 300,000 educators, but we have over 80% of Fortune 500 companies that trust to use Pull Everywhere each and every day. Now, well, so just to go over a little bit of an agenda here today. So what we're going to do is here in a second, I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'm going to actually show you a little bit what Pull Everywhere looks like, the new homepage. We're going to show how to create polls. We're going to show how to edit those polls, how to edit it using AI. I'm also going to help you navigate that new homepage and where everything is. We're also actually going to go over a brief little demonstration also on how to use the Pull Everywhere PowerPoint integration. And then last, what we'll do is we'll have a little Q&A after that. But during it, if you have any questions, I believe I have opened up the panel. So if you have questions, feel free to type in there, or don't worry, we will have a designated time at the end to answer those questions. Here today, we might have some people from like our engineering or head of product, things like that pop in to help answer some of those questions. But if for some reason, if you have a question that is more geared towards engineering or product or anything like that, what I'll probably do is probably get your information and I'll follow up post call because we want to make sure we get you that most accurate information. But if that sounds good, let's go ahead and let's get started. So just one sec, just need to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Sorry, everyone. I have one of those super wide screens, so I have to share a portion of it or else you will not be able to see everything. So I do apologize about that. All right, and really quick, is everyone able to see my screen? We good to go here? Just want to make sure. All right, we'll say no news is good news. So what we're going to go ahead and start doing here is, so this is going to be the homepage for Pull Everywhere, right? So this is what you're going to see if you have logged in before. Great. If not, welcome. So with the homepage, we have a few options up here at the top. So let me go ahead and move this over here. So we have up here, we have like some quick recommended options. So we have as far as like our bar, our word cloud, clickable image, competitions and QAs. But next, let's say if you want to get more, brand new with it, say you want to do multiple choice. This is to where you can choose between like your bar, your donut, your like, or your radar. Open-ended, it's where your Q&A and word cloud are going to be held. And then other, this is where competition and attendance. Next, you can see here we have your recent questions. So this is where, let's say, all of like your most recent polls, competitions, anything like that you've created recently. This is where those are all going to appear. And then next we have where the AIs. This is how we can create those polls using AI. In my personal opinion, this is one of my favorite features that we have. Um, I'm not one of the most creative people, I gotta admit. So I do rely on this a lot to help me create my polls, competitions, things like that. Now, for this today, I want everyone to compete in a competition, right? So we have a few of us here today. So let's do a competition about, how about this today? Let's do Thanksgiving since we have that coming up here pretty soon. And perfect. So as we can see here, it's generating right now. Must be creating something really good for us right now. Right. Don't like how long this is taking. So what I'm actually going to do is I want to go ahead and start over here. So I'm going to refresh my page, going right here, and let's go ahead and try one more time. Sorry about that, everyone. Perfect. Awesome. Second time's a charm. So as you can see here, what it went ahead and did is it created a competition for us. Now, as you can see, we have a few things here on the page, and don't worry, I'm going to go over all of this stuff real quick. So to start off here, the name of the competition is going to be up here at the top left. Now, if you want to change that, you simply just click on the little pencil icon or just click inside of it. Now for this, I want to keep that because, again, this is a Thanksgiving competition. Next, we have our question. So let's just say if I want to change the title of this question, you can type your title in here and save. Again, I like this title. So next, what we can do here is you can actually, let's say if I want to add another choice, simple, which these are going to be your choices here. So we can go ahead and click on add choice. Let's go ahead and add it right here at the bottom. We'll just we'll put any date in, and there we go. So now it's saved here, right? Let's just say I want to edit that. Just click inside of the choice. You can remove here, and you can put any date you want. Next, let's say if I want to add correctness. We already have a correct option here, but that's where you can just click on this little check mark and it'll make it green. Next, let's say I want to move this choice. Just click. What we're going to do is go ahead and drag it, and there we go. And then last, let's say I want to remove this. Simple. Click into the actual choice, highlight over the trash can, and click. And there we go. Next, what we have here on the screen, you can also see we have the QR code and we have your join code. That's the two ways that your audience, your participants can go ahead and join. Let's say if you're someone who you just don't want this QR code to sit there, you want the choices and the question to take up all the real estate on the page, just simply click inside of the QR code. It's going to go ahead and hide it. Or if you want to bring it on back, just click right back into where it hid, and here you go. Next, we can see here on the left-hand side, this is to where we have our all of the polls that we have created for us, our questions, excuse me. Next, we have our leaderboards. As we can see here, we can go ahead and pop on through. Now, let's just say, for instance, I want to add another question. Simple. We click right here on the plus button here, and this is where you can go ahead and you can add. You can add a different multiple choice, a word cloud, a Q&A, your clickable image. You can add an attendance, or let's say like another leaderboard. So for this case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add actually a Q&A. And as you can see, the Q&A, wherever you have highlighted, it's going to pop in right after that question. Now for this, I don't want this to be a part of the competition, so I'm just going to click and I'm going to drag it to the very bottom. I want this to be the last question that everyone answers. Now, again, with this one, you can see it's pretty basic, right? It's blank. Again, as I mentioned previously, I'm not the most creative person, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to improve my question. So for here, let's go ahead and let's see, create open-ended question about Thanksgiving. Cool. And what are you most thankful for Thanksgiving? Now, as we can see here, if I want to revert that change, I can simply select right here where it's going to go ahead and delete that out. And then again, I also like to let everyone know too, if you want to like make it harder or anything like that, we have a couple options here. So that's something too to where you can go ahead and improve that question using AI. Now what I want to do is I want to come right back up here to the top to our very first question we have in our competition. And first, I just want to go highlight some of the options we have here on the left and at the bottom. So here at the bottom, we have our presentation options. So this is where, let's say if I want to hide responses. Now, simply, this is how it's enabled right now. And we can see here, responses are hidden. Now, if I want to lock the question, simply click lock. And as we can see here, the question's locked. And then last, to show correctness, I'm going to cheat so everyone can get this one right. But again, this is how we can show that correctness. And I am going to go over this more when we are so I'm going to have everyone participate here in a second. So not to worry, I'm going to show you what it looks like when you're presenting. So cool. So let's go ahead and let's just highlight some of these options here on the right. So here we have the visualization. So this is to where you can actually change this specific question we have selected. So let's say if I want to change it to like a donut, a liker, or a radar, that's how you can go ahead and do that here. Or if you want to change it to an open-ended, or if you want to change it to a clickable image. Next, we have our design. So this part is actually really cool. So with design, by default, with all of our plans, from the free intro up to the engage, you're going to be able to have this standard theme option here we have built in. Now, teams and up, so it's like teams, enterprise, university-wide plans, you're actually going to have access to down here to create your own themes and organization themes, which I think is pretty cool. So this right here is to where we can go the font family, change that, right? So the accent, so for the accent, it's actually going to be right here, your choice and part of your join code. And then the background is actually going to be, let's say, so this is a bar. It's going to be your little bars here. Now, as everyone can see here, the logo, this is where you can actually upload your own logo. Let's say if you have a university or if you want to upload your company. Me personally, I'm a huge Bronco fan, so sorry if everyone's not a sports fan or if you're not a Bronco fan, just had to do it. This is where I put my logo here. Next, we have a background. So this is how you can upload a background. So let's say, again, if you have like your company background or if you have your university, this is where you can upload that. And then next, let's say I want to go ahead and I want to add this to be a part of my organization themes. So other people in my organization can access it. That's how I have this enabled right now. And again, I will show you that here a little bit later. Now, next, you can actually save this theme. And then what the themes will do is they pop up right here once you have them saved, which I think is pretty cool. So again, that's one of those things that we do have when the team's planning up, which is a really cool feature to take advantage of. Next, we have the response limits. So this here is how you can set for multiple selections. Let's say, per participant, if you want to be able to vote more than once, so they can vote, this one and this one. Next, we have allow voting. So this is where if you want to have more than one selection per like a choice, this is how you can set that here. Next, we have our audience. So this one right here is for if you want, let's say your question to be anonymous. This is how you can go ahead and you select that. As you can see here, it's going to show up as anonymous on this end, and it will also show up as anonymous on the participant side as well. So this way they have that, that ease of mind to know that this is anonymous. So let's say, it's like a company poll, you want to hear feedback, but you don't want anyone to know how or who responded to things. That's how you go ahead and you do that. Next, we have participant restrictions. So what this actually does is this is going to be more so for probably organizations, right? Because if you want to set to your organization, or even better, for educators, right? So let's say you want to ensure that your students are signed in to their Pull Everywhere accounts that are registered with the LMS that you're using, like Canvas, right? Because if a student is not signed into their participant account when they're responding, they're not going to get credit for that. So this ensures that those students are logged into that participant account before they can even access the presentation, right? So that's one way to do that here. And you can also, we have a new feature, set it to teams. So I went ahead and I created a team called Shoot Farms, and we'll go into teams in a little bit later, but that's how you can enable that here. Next, we have our timer. So this is how you can go ahead and enable that timer. So if you want to set a time limit per question, that's how you do that here as well. Now, I think this is a pretty good time to go ahead and start having everyone respond and participate in this poll or in this competition. Before we get to that though, I do want to just point out, so actually I already have the participant URL opened up here on this other tab. And so this is what you can see when you are in the waiting room. Now, this cool little feature we added, if you're on a computer, you can actually, with your mouse, you can kind of just click around with a fun little waiting game. But if you're on your phone, you'll just be seeing this screen right here. Now, what I'll go ahead and I'll ask everyone, if you can, go ahead and just access the QR code via with your phone, or if you want to go to pe.app. Because again, we'll have everyone just participate in this because why not just have a little bit of fun? You know what? I think I'm going to participate in this one today as well. So for this first part, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to present just from the web so everyone can see what this looks like. So for right now, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start presenting. Yep. Now, when I navigate over to here to this side here, as you can see, now I can go ahead and I can start participating. So a few little things I do want to point out here. So once I make my selection here, I can only make one, right? Because I only have one response set. Next, what you can see here is responding to the presenter webinar as, and for here, what we have is what we created is a adjective and an animal. Now, let's say for some reason you want to change that. No worries. You can click inside of the screen name, or you click on the pencil. Make your edit and then update. So for this, I'm actually going to change mine to Bronco, because why not? Cool. So as we can see here, I'm going to navigate back over here to the presenter side. So as we can see, people are starting to respond. So here in the top, we can see how many people have responded so far. Now, again, I did promise everyone I was going to show how to respond using the presentation options. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to enable hide responses. As we can see here, responses are hidden. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to disable that. Next, I'm going to lock the question. So when I navigate back over to the participant side, it's locked. I can't make any more selections. And then last, show correctness. So here, as we can see here, everyone, whoever answers 1621, you are correct. Awesome. Now, what I want to do is I want to go on to the next slide, right? Which is going to be our leaderboard. Just right down here at the bottom. We're just going to go ahead and click the next arrow. As we can see here, looks like that's in first place. So, and then just goes in descending order. Now, we'll go ahead and we'll answer this question here. So which president officially declared Thanksgiving a national holiday? I do not know this one, so I'm just going to, sure. And here we go. So as you can see here, as responses are coming in, we have the donut. It's going to go ahead and it's going to start changing based on how responses are coming in. And again, if I want to hide, I can hide them here or disable that. And then next, I want to go ahead and I want to lock it and then show that correctness. So next, as we can see here, we have our leaderboard. So we'll go ahead and we'll go to our next one. So what is the common name for the large domesticated fowl often eaten on Thanksgiving? Now, the radar, I personally like the radar a lot. So as you can see, as answers are coming in, so I'm actually going to do goose. It's going to start pulling it in different directions. I think this is really cool. It's one of my favorites. Awesome. So as you can see here, on the four of us, we have all responded. So let's go ahead and let's lock it down and let's show correctness. Awesome. And definitely did not mean to win that. So I think I was probably cheating. So we're going to go ahead and give first place to Respectful Peacock. Congratulations. All right, so next what we have here is we have the Q&A. So this is one of those that I do want to make sure I highlight to everyone. I like this one. It's a cool feature that we have. So with what are you most thankful for Thanksgiving, right? So as you can see on the participant side, you have your text box. So, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and type in my family. Awesome. Love it. Perfect. And so as we can see here, you are going to start seeing the participants' responses coming in. Now, some cool features that we can do is we can actually interact with these responses. So for instance, cranberry sauce. Can go ahead and give that a thumbs up. Gravy boats. I love that one. All right. And as I mentioned, we are just having a few little glitches here today. But what we are going to see is we're actually going to start seeing the reactions are going to be adding on to each, however you want to vote on, right? So for instance, there we go. And then again, once I lock that down, as you can see here, I can't make any more selections. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pop on out of here. Now let's say I want to hop out, but before we do that, we have some options up here now. So the share option was previously there. So this is how if you want to send out a response link. So if you want people to respond async, this is how we do that. And you can actually set a start and end date. And then here's that shareable link that you can share. And the next with presenters. So let's say I want to share out this competition with people in my organization or someone, a single person in my organization. This is how you do that right here. You want to share out with the team, share out with the team here, or you can share out with the entire organization. Cool part here, you can also select what kind of permissions that they have, which I think is pretty fun. Next are responses. So this right here is responses. So archive, familiar with 1.0, our version of archive is safe. That's what I always like to correlate those two, right? So the options here that we have is you can save the question, or archive the question. So what this does is this is gonna save the responses for this specific Q&A question here. What are you most thankful for this Thanksgiving? If you want to archive the poll, it's gonna actually archive the entire competition, the Thanksgiving competition. Or you have the option to delete question responses. So in the past, we didn't have this option. It was you had to archive, that was the only option. But we understand that to have a delete option is beneficial to, let's say, if you're doing like testing and things like that, you don't want to have those tests being saved. So this is how you can do that here, to where you can clear out those tests. And so they're not counted. So that's how we can do that here as well. So next, once I pop out, what we're now into here is the polls. So this is where all of the polls that I have created currently live. Now, as we can see here, I've created a couple of these Thanksgiving competitions. Now, what we can do is we can create folders and put those questions or poll types, competitions inside of a folder. Now, in 2.0, it's going to be the same process as in 1.0. If I want to do that, simply click on the folder. Let's see here. Thanksgiving folder. I'm going to create it. As we can see, it's popped up right here. Now, for this option here, I want to go ahead and I want to put my Thanksgiving competition inside of that folder. Now, we have two options here. There's two ways to do it. So if I want to just do a singular, let's say just this competition, we can either click on the three dots to the far right, move it, or I can move via up here at the top. For this though, I want to do both. So I'm actually going to click move. It's going to open up all the folders that I have currently available on my Polar 2.0 account. I'm going to click on the folder here. And as we can see here, now they're in the Thanksgiving folder. So yeah, so that's one thing I do love telling people about. So when it does come to the folder structure, you can have as many subfolders as you want. Now, when I do say that, I should also say that there is a limit, but we could be adding a folder within a folder within a folder for the rest of this webinar, and we're not going to reach that limit. So again, I always like to let people know that. Feel free to go ahead and use these folders as you want. Yeah, there's really, there is a limitation, but there's not, if that makes sense. So next we have the shared with me. So this is where any of those polls, questions, competitions that are shared out amongst teams, this is where those are going to be located. Now, again, well, if you're a part of a team or an organization, right? Because we can share them out with the entire organization. And then next, your trash can. So the trash, I do always like to let people know, once you put any kind of a poll, competition, anything into the trash can, it will stay here for 30 days. But then after 30 days, it will be permanently deleted and there's no way for us to get that back. So just always just make sure if you're putting something in the trash, just know it will be there for 30 days, but after that, we're not gonna be able to grab it. And again, if you want to go ahead and clear it out, simply click on the three dots over here. If you want to restore it or delete it permanently. All right, let's see. So I think another thing we'll go over here today as well is reports. So I know we've gotten a lot of questions about reports. So here's we can see here this quick little view. So this is the polls that I just ran today because what I currently have are responses within 30 days. Now, some of these things with reports that we heard feedback, we understand that we wanted to make this more customizable, more customer friendly. Cool things that you can actually do is all of these filters we have, you can actually click and drag them and move them around. So you can put what information, is, important to you. So for instance, for me, the presenter, I don't really need that. I can actually put that over here. Don't really care for it. I'm more interested to see in the participants of the screen names, right? The question, responses, who got incorrect, who didn't, or received. Let's say you want to add more filters. You can click on this option here, and this is to where we can actually add more. Let's say next, I want to, and you can also order them around here as well. Next, let's say we want to add some filters, which I'll get into here in a second. This is how we can add those here. And then next, you can actually change the type of report we're running. So we'll create a quick report today. So when we're in report types, we have four different types. We have a participant details, question details, we have question summary and just the data. So obviously like your participant details, these are going to be more, specific to each participant. The question details, these are going to be more, provide about how each participate or didn't or details in each question. The question summary, it's going to be a little bit more of a summarization. So it's not going to have as much info as the question details are. And then last, just the data. So it's going to have error response, ungrouped, I like just the data. Probably my favorite one out of the four. So then do this. So here you can select your date range. So we have just some quick options, 7 days, 30 or 90 days, but you can also set a specific date here as well. Right here, I'm going to do 7. So here you have some options here. We can just run the past 7 days, all polls, or I can select my polls or questions here. So for today, I want to go ahead and run here. It's this one that we ran today. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check this here. So I want to add the entire competition. And before we generate the report, we just have a few things to go over. So the template, just the data. Questions, I have the one, right? The competition. And then the filter. I don't have any other specific filters. And then next, the date range, which is 7. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to generate the report. Click OK. And here we go. So as we can see, again, we can click and drag how we want. We can move things around, go into filter here. So this is how we can set which kind of options we want here at the top. So next, these are those filters I said we'd come back to. So this is how the filters we set at the beginning, right? What polls that we have in here. What specific questions, the date range. We can even add more filters if we want as well. And then last, if I want to change this report type, this is how we do that easy right here. Now, what another cool part that we can actually do as well is you can actually save this view, right? So for here, let's save this view, Thanksgiving view webinar. All of your saved views are going to be over here under the saved reporting views. And again, that's how we select those here. And then last, if you want to export that report, simple, click on the export report and you can do CSV or Excel. All right, next, just wanted to briefly touch over Teams. So again, with Teams, super simple how to create these. So to create a team, simply click up here at the top, create the name. I've already created one, Shroot Farms. If you're an Office fan, you'll get it. Gonna go ahead and go in here. So I added Dwight Schrute. And then here to the members, but if you want to add other members that are in your organization, simple. Click on the add member button, type in their names here, and then select the member. Then next you have your team role. So you're going to have a member or admin. Those are going to be the two roles that we have available for teams. Now for courses, we're not going to be touching courses today. That is going to be its own specific webinar where we will go over that kind of integration. So not to worry, that is down the pipeline. But this is where you'll be able to access those courses, like your assignments, things like that with Canvas and Brightspace. Next, we have the poll and PowerPoint, which we'll go over that real quick right now as well. So with the PowerPoint integration, it's going to be much different than 1.0. So now what we have is Poll Everywhere, the 2.0 add-in. It's going to be lives inside the add-ins in 365. Whereas previously with the Mac or Windows presenter with 1.0, that was a standalone application. So like I'm on a Mac right now. So that's where I would go up here and I would insert my activities into PowerPoint. But now, like I said, this is actually going to be living inside of 365. So for instance, if you didn't have it downloaded yet, simply click on the Pull in PowerPoint, click on Download Add-in, and then right here is where it's going to take you to the Microsoft Store so you can get that added. If for some reason this is grayed out, there might be some settings or security things with your organization. If that is the case, I do recommend reaching out to your internal IT. If for some reason, they have questions or anything like that, always feel free to reach out to us in support. We're more than happy to help you out or also answer any questions that your internal IT may have. So we can make sure that you can use the Pull Everywhere 2.0 add-in. Now, I already have a PowerPoint, blank presentation opened up here on my screen. Now, as I mentioned previously before, if you had a Mac with the Mac Presenter 1.0 app, it's going to be a standalone application. Or if you were on Windows, you would see the Pull Everywhere tab right here in the PowerPoint ribbon. Now it's going to live in the add-ins. So I'm going to click on add-in. And again, you can also look this up here in your add-ins as well. It's just we created that quick little option here to make it just much more seamless and quicker for you. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up the Pull Everywhere add-in. So as you can see here, it's going to open up basically like an iframe inside of a PowerPoint slide in the slide deck. So you are going to have some options here. Now you can create polls. You can create them with AI, things like that. But obviously some features you're not going to have access to. You will have to do some things on the web. But for instance, to insert, let's say a competition, a poll, question, anything like that, simple. Let's go into Thanksgiving. Let's see here. Check a box, right? You have to select at least one selection. Once you make that selection, you can see here one selected. Insert slides option is going to populate right here at the top. And then it's as simple as clicking on insert slides. We've made it that quick and seamless for you. Now, one thing I love pointing out though, just to make sure, because I have got some questions from the support side, is you're going to see here they Pull Everywhere, icon in the slide, like a preview. To get this to load, you have to click on it to get it to load. Now, this is one of those things that we are working with Microsoft on how to get this, but it's one of those things to where because we are an add-in inside of Microsoft, there's a lot of things that we have to work with Microsoft on to get this. So not to worry, this is by design. To get this thumbnail to load, you can click on it right here to load it so you can see a preview of it, or you don't have to do that either. You can leave this as is. Once you insert any polls, questions, competitions, anything you insert into your PowerPoint slide deck, it's going to be available for you. And it's as simple as that. Now, I'm actually going to do real quick here. I want to do that. So The next step is to present in PowerPoint. It's going to be the same exact process as it was previously. You have to be in presentation mode to get those pull everywhere activities, which now we call polls, to activate. But before we do that, so as you see here, this iframe here, we don't need this anymore. So once you're done with it, you can simply delete that slide because we don't need it. Now, if you have to add another pull everywhere poll, question, anything like that, simply go back to your add-ins. It's going to open up a new PowerPoint slide with the iframe here, and then you can simply make your additions. And then once you're done, delete out the slide. And then next, to go ahead and get this to go, I'm gonna go ahead and extend my screen a little bit so everyone can see this. Sorry, everyone. I just had to buy the widescreen. And we're going to present. So as you can see here, we are presenting here. It's active. You can start responding. And as we get to each slide, it's actually going to activate the slide. And so again, let me pull this down. You have all the same functionality as you do from the web. So this is one of those things I want to make sure I always point out. Because again, we've gotten a ton of questions about how to use Pull Everywhere in PowerPoint. And as you can see, it's pretty seamless. It's the same process as online versus in PowerPoint. And then 1 second. Perfect. All right. Let me go ahead and shorten this down. So hopefully that's much easier for everyone to see. All right, and so just a few more things I do want to go over here. If let's see down here at the bottom, we have a couple options, right? So we have your My Settings and Organization Settings. So My Settings, this is going to be like where your personal information. If you want to change your join code, this is where you go to do that. Your first name, your last name, your email, time zone. Perfect. Security. So this is where you can actually go to update your password or add an authenticator app. Next, attendance locations. So this is one of those things where if you want to set up the geo location, this is how you do that. Simply click on new location right here. Broncos Stadium, do I want to call that? And there we go. So you can actually then set your distance, 100 meters, make sure we get the whole stadium in there and save. And that's as simple as it is to add these, go ahead and geo location or geo fence locations. Next, your response links. So this is where all the response links are going to be located at. Next, your features. This is how if you want to turn off AI, if you want to disable attendance management, the geolocation, that's where you do that there. And next, your defaults. This is where I can actually set this to where all of like polls, competitions, anything I create will automatically have whatever theme I have selected here. And you can get more granular with it as well. So let's say participant restrictions. This is how you can go to make sure all of your polls, all of them, all your questions have the same settings across the board when you create them. So you can set for your participant restrictions. If you want it to be anonymous, want to set a timer, the multiple choices, open-ended questions. You want to have responses per participant, or pinpoint questions. This is where all this is going to be located here. And then last, we'll just go to the organization settings. So this here is where like your user management. So this is how you can add presenters, participants. This is where you go to add them here or to change their roles. Now to invite a user, just click on the button, put the email, and then you can set the role right here. Or you can edit a role for people who are already here, right? Who are already in your organization. Next, authentication. This is more for the admins. This is for people who are on like the enterprise accounts university-wide. You can have SSO set up. That's how you do that. Planning billing. So now our billing is much different than previously. So now we are partnered with Stripe. So if anyone has done online shopping, anything like that, I'm sure you might be familiar with it. But this is where you're going to go for any of your billing needs, anything like that is going to be all right here. LMS connections. So again, this is more for the admins on the side to get the LMS integrations set up for Canvas or Brightspace. And again, this is available for our university-wide plans. Same thing with the features as an organization level, you can set for if you want to enable the AI or disable, let's say, attendance management for across the board organizationally. That's how you do that here. And then again, your default. This is how you can set for an organization where everyone in the organization has the same settings across the board, where you can set these up right here. And then last thing, our appearance. We have it now set to where you can have dark mode. Um, I normally leave it on dark mode, but I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. But if you want to change it back, simply just deselect that. And then last, the logout button. That's how you log out. But cool. So I think we got that part done. So one sec while I just transition back on over to our presentation. And we have a few more slides here, and then we will get to a brief little Q&A to answer any questions. Perfect. So what we have here is we have support, right? So how to get in contact with support. I'm on the support team, so I have to throw out to, myself to my fellow team. If you need to get in contact with us for any reason at all, you're gonna go to polleverywhere.com/support, or send in your emails to support@polleverywhere.com. Those are two ways to get a hold of us. We do have a phone number as well, which, tell you what, let me go ahead and type that here into the chat. And then that's the number to reach us if you have any questions or anything like that. Yeah, three ways to get a hold of us. We're always more than happy to help out. So next, to learn more about the webinars, right? So if you want to have any more information as far as future webinars we have set up, we're actually going to start, uploading all of our recordings of these webinars to this site here, to polleverywhere.com/webinars. That's where I recommend going when we have our future webinars set up, like instance for like LMS integrations. What else we have? We're going to have some on reporting. We're also coming out with a new companion app that's going to actually be for the Google Slides, for Keynote, for things like that. We will have specific webinars for those. So that's the perfect place to go to get that kind of information. Definitely recommend going out to it. So next, what I'm actually going to do here as well is I'm actually going to have a Q&A opened up here for 1 second. Perfect. So what I actually want to do is I actually want to open up a Q&A. So just to see if anyone has any questions, definitely want to hear them. So 1 second. All right, so if you go to pe.app/webinar, if you are currently still on it, great. This is where you want to go ahead and go here. If you have any questions, anything like that, feel free to type it in the webinar chat. Feel free to raise your hand, or you can feel free to go ahead and type into the Q&A poll that's currently open right now, and let us know. I'd definitely like to try to answer any questions I can here today for you. All right, so one of our questions we have is you showed the PowerPoint integration where the poll everywhere icon showed up on every slide. Once a poll is on a slide, can you move it around with an existing deck? Yes, you can. Yep, you can go ahead. You can move it around just as you normally, you move any other slide. Yeah, not a problem. It doesn't need to be in that direct order. One of those things you just obviously, if you're going to have like a competition, you want to make sure you have a leaderboard sometime after that. So this way that can get recorded. But yeah, you can move those slides around as you'd like. That's not a problem. Once you insert it into your Poll Everywhere slide deck. So I want to make sure I get that term verbiage correct. So yes, you can. Are you able to demonstrate the word cloud feature? 100%. All right, cool. So we'll go ahead and go in right here. So let's say, let's have everyone participate in a word cloud. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna create a word cloud. Perfect. Nice and easy, right? So let's go ahead and start presenting. And so now using the same QR code, everything, if you should now be able to see this on your page, go ahead, you can start responding now. Static. And as you can see here, they're going to start populating in here. So this is going to be the word cloud. So as they start rolling in, you are going to see more responses here. So let's say, awesome. And so as we can see here, they are going to start popping in here. So perfect. And then tell you what, let me come back here and I want to open this back up. So perfect. Do I have any other questions or anything like that I can try to answer here today? And again, if there's anything like, if you're like me, I'm one of those people that uh, in the moment, like I'll have questions, but then I forget about it. And then as I'm like driving home, I like hit the steering wheel, like, dang it, I forgot to ask that question. Don't worry about that. You feel free to reach out to us in support. Again, it's polleverywhere.com/support, or support@polleverywhere.com, or the phone number that I put in the chat. That's going to be the best three ways to get in contact with us to ask us any remaining questions that you have. Cool. Awesome. You're welcome. So perfect. So what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to be wrapping up here today. Yeah, just reshare my screen. Yeah, again, sorry everyone. I wanted to get the super wide screen, so I know it's just not the easiest thing to share out. Perfect. So what we have here, so now what we have as far as frequently asked questions, I do recommend going to this page. It's the pe.app /a/FAQ. This we are updating in real time. We're updating this, I mean, daily, weekly, monthly. I mean, it's something that we're just constantly revolving and moving and updating because we want to make sure we are giving you guys as much information as we can. But again, if you have those questions, always feel free to reach out to us in support. I'm more than happy to help answer any of those questions that you have. Next, survey, how do we do? If you're still on the participant app, the QR code, you're going to see that. Feel free to let us know what you like, you didn't like. We want to hear I've always lived the mantra that all feedback is good feedback. But we want to also let us know what kind of webinars you want to see in the future. What kind of content do you want us to focus in on? because that's the kind of things too. We want to hear that. The whole thing with 2.0 is that we created this for you guys. We've gotten a ton of feedback over the years. We understand there's many things that can be improved, that can be done better. And so that's the whole point that we have Pull Everywhere 2.0. And obviously there's two versions, right? 1.0 and 2.0. With 2.0, we are actually able to fix things, add things in much quicker turnarounds. So that's what we want to hear. We want to hear your feedback and just definitely let us know. All right, and we are at time. So again, everyone, I just want to thank y'all for taking time out of your day to join us today. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope you all had as much fun as and excited as I am to get started with Pullover 2.0. We truly enjoyed spending this time with you, and on behalf of myself and the entire Pull Everywhere team, just want to thank you again for joining us, and we hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful, great rest of your day, everyone. Bye.